The Minnesota Timberwolves front office may not be the most fondly thought of in the NBA due to a couple of trades over the last few years, one of which we're going to talk about today, and passing on Steph Curry twice for 2 point guards. But they have made one pick here over the last few years that is really good. MJ's son, Anthony Edwards, is going to be, I think, a top 10 player in the NBA next year. So make sure to stick around for the full video to find out why I think that. Make sure to hit the like button, leave me a comment down below, and hit the subscribe button. Like 96% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel, which is kind of crazy. So just hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying at any point. Now, let's go ahead and get started looking at Ant by the numbers through his first few years in the league. His 19-year-old season, he put up 19.3 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, about a steal, half a block. Not great efficiency. The next year, the efficiency improves, both going up by about 3 points. 21 points a game, 4.8 rebounds. The playmaking improves, steals improves, and then last year he had a huge year. 25 a game on 46-36 shooting splits. Very nice. And even, you think of playoff risers, the two bigger ones are the guys that made it to the NBA Finals this year. But Anthony Edwards was quietly a big-time playoff riser this year as well. 32 points a game and 5.2 rebounds a night, as well as 5 assists in the playoffs this year for Ant. He was a demon for the Timberwolves this season. And even KCP said the Timberwolves were the hardest series for the Denver Nuggets. 48% from the field, 35% from three. I think that said 2 blocks and about a steal and a half a game. That looked like MJ right there. Holy cow. He added 7 points per game to his regular season totals. While Jimmy Butler, seen as the biggest playoff riser, added 5.6. Putting that into perspective there for you. He's a much better defender than you may think. And honestly, I'm thinking he could be a future GOAT when it comes to the GOAT discussion in the NBA. Let's take a look at Ant compared to his father and Kobe Bryant in terms of points per game in their first few seasons in the league. First off, we're going to take a look at Jordan's numbers at his age 21 season. Obviously, Jordan on the bottom there. I got it highlighted for you. He was out of this world. He put up 28 points a game as a rookie, which is kind of crazy. By his third season, he was putting up 37 points a game. Jordan was ahead of his time. But by his third season, he was 23 years old, while Ant is just 21. So you look at the age 21 seasons. Honestly, 3.5 points a game separate. They're honestly kind of close. I mean, you can pause and take a closer look there for yourself. Obviously, a much better three-point shooter. Jordan was better from the field. Similar defenders. And then let's take a look at Kobe in his age 21 season. This was his 4th year in the NBA. And Anthony Edwards had better stats than Kobe. Kobe had 2 more assists per game. They had the same steal, basically the same block, shot it about the same from the field, while Ant was better from 3, and then Ant averaged 2 more points per game than him. Kobe was probably winning NBA championships by then, to be honest. But that was his 4th year in the league, 2nd All-Star appearance. Somehow he made the All-Star game, averaging 15 points a game. Kind of wild, but it was a different league back then. Looking at Ant compared to those two, he honestly compares to Kobe very well. And then you look at some of the best shooting guards in the league. Bradley Beal now in Phoenix, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Devin Booker, James Harden. I'm feeling like it's either Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker at this point. But honestly, Ant could really, if he has a breakout 4th season, he could be the best shooting guard in the NBA right now, and I feel like that's not too bad. However, the Timberwolves, who let this man cook? What are we doing? I mean, you look at the D'Lo trade, you give up Wiggins and the 7th overall pick, what will become the 7th overall pick in the draft, which ends up being Jonathan Kuminga, who hasn't really shown out yet, but I mean, he's going to make it. He's the guy that is going to make it in the NBA. The Warriors just haven't given him his chance yet for some reason. They make that trade, and then they go out and trade Gobert for Jared Vanderbilt and Walker Kessler, as well as 5 first-round picks. If it wasn't bad enough that you were giving up Walker Kessler and Jared Vanderbilt, who I'd rather have than Rudy Gobert, to be honest, you also have to give up 5 first-round picks. Those two trades right there, golly. We're going to look at it in a second, what they could have had. But Walker Kessler and Rudy Gobert have essentially been the same player this year. And Walker Kessler's a rookie. Now I know the stats, a little bit different. Walker Kessler actually averaged a whole block per game more than Rudy Gobert in less minutes, while Rudy put up about 3 or 4 more points and 3 or 4 more rebounds than him. But you take a look at the contract, and Rudy Gobert will be making $120 million more than Walker Kessler over the next 3 years. So the Timberwolves would have been much better off just keeping Walker Kessler around. Man. Sure, Ant's not too happy about that one. But let's take a look at what the lineup could have been, and then we'll take a look at the lineup projected for next year. Could have been Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Andrew Wiggins, Jared Vanderbilt, and Cat. That is a very solid lineup. And then you go out, maybe you trade a Mike Conley for, I don't know, any starting caliber backup point guard. Although Mike Conley could be a starting caliber point guard in the NBA today, for sure. But you got Ant, Andrew Wiggins, Jared Vanderbilt. That's 3 really good defenders. Ant can score. Wiggins can score when he needs to. Cat, he's one of the better centers in the NBA. And then you got Conley running the show. I'd love that. And then you take a look at the bench here, and it'd be Jordan McLaughlin. Then you get your rim protection with Walker Kessler still in the squad. Jonathan Kuminga and Jalen McDaniels are an elite wing duo defensively, and Kuminga can kind of come into his own on offense. And then you can even honestly throw Leonard Miller in there at the backup center spot. If that was me, I'd probably throw in Leonard Miller instead of Naz Reid paying him that money. I'd save that money, throw in Leonard Miller, and you'd be able to go out and get a huge free agent this offseason as well. Now, they did have a solid draft this year. I'll give them that. They get Leonard Miller, who I just talked about. Solid big man, 6'10". He knows how to play the game. He can really fill in gaps well in transition, and that's something I really like with him. He's very good off the ball, which you don't see a lot with blue chip prospects these days because they're so used to having the ball in their hands. He's very good off the ball, very smart cutter. Like I said, he fills lanes and transitions. I think he's going to be a very nice piece for them off the bench this year. And then they also get Jalen Clark, one of the better defenders in college basketball, but he also averaged a lot of points per game. I'm not sure how many it was, but he averaged a good amount of points per game. Jalen Clark is going to be a demon for this Timberwolves team, probably in the G League this year, but he's going to be good for them at some point. So let's take a look at the lineups going into the year. Mike Conley, still as the starting point guard. It'll do for now. And then you got Anthony Edwards, you got Jalen McDaniels, you got Rudy Gobert, you got Karl Anthony Towns. The Twin Towers aren't really working out right now. If I'm the Timberwolves, I'm trading Rudy ASAP before Anthony Edwards gets upset. I'm trading Rudy. If you can even trade him, that contract might be untradeable for a guy that just completely regressed this year compared to his years with the Jazz. He's hitting threes now, though. I won't quote what he said about that, but he is hitting threes. So we'll see if that can transition over to the NBA. The bench is not bad. There's young pieces here. I like the Shake Milton signing. You got McLaughlin. You got Milton, like I said. You got Kyle Anderson, Slow-Mo himself. You got Leonard Miller, Naz Reid. Wendell Moore can also be thrown in there, your first rounder from a year ago. But yeah, I think everybody would agree with me that you'd rather have that lineup we were just talking about. There's Ant throwing a chair, by the way. He got a little frustrated after the loss to the Nuggets. So yeah, I feel like the Timberwolves would have been better off without those trades. But don't get it twisted. Anthony Edwards is going to be an absolute megastar next year. I've got him as a top 10 player at the end of the year. I'm calling it out. Y'all let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, however. Make sure to like button, leave me a comment, and subscribe, turn on the post notifications. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video.